Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, Honestly Invisibly Sick, and today's going to be a little bit of a different video. Um, I've been giving you guys updates about what's going on with me right now, but I want to give you guys an update about my year as a whole. It was actually brought to my attention last night by a friend, like how far I've actually come in a year, and I just thought I would share it with you guys because it's really just eye-opening to me. Sorry, my eyes. My eyes dripping and I don't have anything. um, sorry about that. Anyway, um, yeah, it just really kind of drove it home how far I've actually come in a year because I've never really stopped. Well, I do at, like if I go to the grocery store, like I know the difference there, like it's night and day. Or if I go to the gas station, like it never fails to astound me, like how easy it is now to get out and walk into the gas station or pump my gas because before that was so difficult. Last year at this time, I was on this cane every day. This was how I got around. And it wasn't easy, even with the cane. I was still moving super slow. Before I started using the cane, I was like snail slow, and this might have moved it up a few speeds from that, but I was still pretty slow. Um, yeah, so I guess I never took the time as a year to look and see how far I've come. Like, this morning was kind of a wake up call, like a definite look how far you've come moment because we've been having some rain. It's like been drizzly and a little bit rainy and just um, really gray outside and just um, damp weather. And my body hasn't been liking it. And I guess this morning it finally set in, and I could barely get out of bed. I was so stiff, super stiff. I could barely move. Like it was painful to get out of bed. And I have stiff mornings off and on, and I have for the whole year, but not to this extent. It was how life was before I got on Plaquenil, and actually before I got on Plaquenil, that wasn't just my mornings. That was my entire day. That was my whole life was stiff like that. Was just painful with every single move. Moving super slow as if I was the Tin Man and I needed an oil can. And I call my Plaquenil my oil can because without my Plaquenil, excuse me, I wouldn't be able to move. And yeah, I go through times where it doesn't work, and I'm working with my doctor now to find something that's a little bit more effective because I've started getting a little bit more stiffer than what I normally have been on the Plaquenil. But even now, it's miles better compared to what it was. Before I got diagnosed and with the lupus, I had where I mean, when I say barely move, I mean barely move. If I wasn't using the cane, my feet were shuffling. I could not lift my feet up off the ground. They were so stiff. My hips were stiff. And just to see how far I've come and all the things that I can accomplish now, um, I can actually sit at my computer and type for a little while, a lot longer than what I could before I was on the Plaquenil. Even when I was working, I had to stop working because I couldn't sit. Every time I sat down, you guys know the story I told you, I was like sitting on something sharp like a knife or something in my back because it was just so bad. I know now my limits of how long I can sit on the computer, and I do get up and I stop because I'm not gonna um, do anything that's gonna send me backwards like into a flare. But I have it where I can stand up and I can sit down and I can still type and do what I need to do. But my life is miles better than where it was. Even my mood is better because when you're in pain all the time, you're not always nice. And I still have days where I'm in pain and I'm not as nice as I should be. Um, and I still do struggle with that when I'm in a flare. I don't mean to be snippy to people, but sometimes I do, and it's just because I'm in so much pain, and it has nothing to do with you personally. It's just me trying to survive through that day. But compared to where I was a year ago, like I said, my life is completely different. I'm able to do things that I couldn't do before. And it all happened slowly, but I guess now that I can do everything that I used to do, or most of it, I don't really think about it. Like, I still have times where I can't go to the grocery store. I still have times where I'm super flared up and I can't move, but it's not my everyday. That was my absolute everyday. I dreaded going to the grocery store if I had to do it and I had no help. I hated going and pumping gas because it was so painful. And not only that, I hated how people looked at me because, or I didn't like it, I shouldn't say hated. I didn't like how people looked at me. Like, even getting up from a table out of the restaurant, it was super embarrassing because I moved slow and I had to have help. My husband would have to help me, and if my husband wasn't with me, then I would have to just, either the person, whoever was with me, would have to help me, or I would just have to sit there and painfully and slowly get up. Even with help, I was slow. And people in the whole restaurant would stare at me, and you would get those questions like, "What's wrong with you?" I mean, I don't know if there's ever a time in a restaurant where it's appropriate to ask somebody what's wrong with you if they're moving kind of slow, or whatever. But I think it's because I'm young, and people don't understand that you can have serious diseases even when you're young that can affect your ability to move. But people would ask me what's wrong with me, what do I have, um, and it was just super embarrassing. Like, even going to Walmart on a cane and being so as young as I am, because I refused to use the carts. I mean, there was times that I've had to use them, like where it was super bad and I had no choice but to use the cart. So I would traipse all around Walmart and do my grocery shopping with this cane. And I had plenty of little old ladies come up to me and say, "Why are you not using the buggy? Why are you not using a cart?" Because I would move so slow, even with holding on to the buggy, and I would have to recoup for, like, if I went to the grocery store, that was the only thing I got done. I didn't get anything else done with my day. Sometimes I have days where it's like that and I don't get anything else done, but not like it was. And I just wanted to just take that time to share it with you guys, because I'm always telling you guys what's going on. I've been dealing with the problems with my eye and my plaque wheel not working and all of that. But even with dealing with my plaque wheel not working as it should, it's still working, but just not as it should, and all the things that are going on with my eyes, like, I'm still doing way better than what I was. I know what I have now. The doctors are able to treat it, and I know better how to handle it, because before, like, yeah, I was trying things to try to help me, but if you don't really know that you have lupus, you don't know to avoid the sun. I was going out in the sun, like, um, all day, every day. I wasn't even thinking about it. I wasn't trying to shield myself from the sun as I do now. I didn't take into account fluorescent lights whenever I would go places that had fluorescent lights. I never thought about, okay, you're feeling sick right now because you're in these lights. Um, and yeah, I knew I had flares. I knew what the flares were, but I just didn't have all the coping mechanisms for lupus, because we still thought I had some kind of arthritis and had no idea that I had lupus. And rheumatoid arthritis and lupus is, although it is both an autoimmune disease, it's two very different things. Like, I had no idea the extent that my organs could be involved, and the things that I have to watch for now, and just things that have made my life a lot better, because now I know, okay, I have lupus, and I was able to research it, and my doctor was able to give me tips that just have really changed my life. And before I got diagnosed with lupus, I was still stuck in this rut of, like, oh my gosh, I'm going to do what I want to do regardless of how my body feels. And I was still trying to push myself. And once I got diagnosed with lupus and the doctor's like, hey, you need to calm down and stop trying to do everything all at once, I was still trying to fight through it regardless of how I couldn't move. But I am just, like, miles better compared to what I was. So if you're in a situation to where you can barely move, or just having trouble getting around, it does get better. This is just a season of your life. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. I didn't know what I had, and I thought for sure this was going to be my everyday life. And if it is my everyday life and I have to go back on this cane, then it is what it is, and I'll do what I got to do. So if you are just going through that, don't feel bad. This is just a season. I know it's hard to get, not to get stuck in a rut of feeling sorry for yourself. And If you need support, if you need prayer, I'm here for you. Um, I'll be happy to pray for you. I'll be happy to be a support system as far as, listening to what's going on with your autoimmune disease and giving whatever kind of advice that I can give. And you're not alone. Um, I was very young on this cane. When I first started using my cane, um, I think I was around 32. So I was 32 years old on a cane. And I know what it feels like when you're young and people don't understand exactly what it is that you have. And that's okay, they don't need to. There are other people that are like you that are out there. And that's why I'm putting out these videos, because I found nobody else like me. Nobody else in my community was like me. Um, I couldn't even find anybody else like me that I could see walking around with a cane as bad as I was on YouTube. Like, you just don't see it. And I'm trying so hard, you guys, to film the bad days. I would have filmed this morning, but I was so no makeup. I had nobody to help me to try to do the camera. I was too stiff to even try to do it. So if my husband is at home and I'm having a bad morning, I'm going to film it for you guys, because I want you to know, if you're somebody out there that's going through that and you can barely move, there are other people out there that go through it and that can barely move. Alright, that's it, you guys. As always, I'm here. If you need me, just leave a comment down below, and have a blessed day. Bye.